she was just a fun-loving girl that loved to be around people.
What's good, guys? Welcome back to the Milk Carton series. I'm your host, Stephanie, if you are new. And as always, guys, thank you for tuning in to another episode. That's like my little saying, but I'm so thankful that you guys check me out. Doesn't matter the amount of views. It's just such a blessing to be a blessing, you know, in this season of my life. So welcome back, guys. Today we're going to be discussing an abduction and a missing persons case. And today we'll focus on 20-year-old Angela Hammond. Now, Angela was a bright young lady. She was in college. She recently got engaged to Rob Schaefer. She had her whole life planned out for her. Very young, but also knowing what she wanted to do. She was a bank teller. And the vibe that I got from just reading from her was like, she was on the straight path. She was doing everything that she planned to do. You know, it's like you graduate, you meet someone, you get engaged. It's like the fairy tale life. And that's truly what was going on for Angela. Like, she was in this great season of her life. But sadly, on April 4th of 1991, that would be the last day that this dream life for her would come to a halt. Now, Angela lived in Clinton, Missouri, and like I said previously, she was a bank teller. She was engaged. She had her life all set out and planned. But sadly, on April 4th of 1991, after going to a barbecue with her fiance, she dropped him off and they were going to meet up later. But it had been stated also that the two may have either they were gonna be on the phone or they were gonna meet up. It's like different articles state different things, but the vibe that I got from reading was that these two went to the barbecue, and I believe that Angela was a little tired and Rob had to go home because his mother was getting off of work and he had to watch his younger sibling. And then and then Angela was supposed to call him. So roughly around 11 something, Angela stops at this convenience store and she used the payphone, and this place was located off of Jefferson and 2nd Street. She was literally probably about 7 blocks from Rob's house. And it had been stated that I guess when his mother would have came home, he would have gotten his vehicle and came to Angela. But sadly, that would not happen. Angela was on the phone with Rob, and she tells Rob that a man in a green Ford pickup truck was coming into this location. And at first, it wasn't like she was suspicious. I mean, I know I would, especially if it's after 10 p.m. I would be a little wary. And then again, we have to think about in the 1990s, times are very different. You know, I said that in the case with Rashida Wilson, 9-year-old who was still missing. She disappeared in the same year, but she disappeared from California. You know, we have to remember that time frames are very different. And then, of course, different communities as well, because Clinton, Missouri is kind of like a rural area. But nonetheless, she's on the phone with Rob, and she says, this guy, oh, this man, he comes into the location. He's driving around. And when I read that, I kind of felt like he was scouting her out when she said that. So then she says he stops. He gets out the vehicle. He uses the other payphone, gets back in his vehicle, but then he gets back out again and he has a flashlight. And it's like he's looking around with the flashlight, and probably not even 5 seconds later, it's like you hear Angela screaming on the other side of the phone. So Rob, of course, he's panicking. He gets in his vehicle and he goes and tries to find Angela. And as he's coming down the street or the highway or whatever, he says that he sees this Ford pickup truck riding past him, and he hears Angela screaming his name. So he tries to, make a U-turn and go after the truck. But do you know, as he did that, his freaking transmission went out on him, y'all.
She's seen the car somewhere along in here.
That's the best guess.
It pulled over and she screamed. That's her last trace.
Robbie would have been coming northbound from that direction.
Angela's boyfriend chased taillights through the town, but his truck broke down.
Can you imagine the fear, the panic that this man went through on that evening? I would have been shitting myself. I would have been boo-hooing. Like, what can you do? You know what I mean? It's like, what can you do? Especially if it's late, you're in a rural area and this vehicle fly past you and they're already passing you. It's like, what can you realistically do? You know? And I can't even imagine the guilt, the pain that this man went through that night when she disappeared. And then like you see it, you're like full blown there. Like, that's like my husband. He hears everything. Someone's trying to kidnap me. And, you know, you're there to protect. You know, you're there to protect your fiance. You know, you're to love them and take care of them. And then you can't do anything because it's out of your hands. It's literally out of your hands. So now that Angela has been abducted and she disappeared, you know, law enforcement began to check, you know, highways. They began to check all types of areas for this man that had abducted Angela. And a couple of witnesses stated that they took what he looked like. They said he was like a filthy Caucasian man. He had a beard, he wore glasses, and he probably was just like a nasty, funky old man, like just watching young girls or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, you know how some people are, like, they give you the GB creebies is what it's called, you know, or I'm probably saying it wrong, but like, they just really just make your hair on your skin stand up. And when your gut tells you something is off, follow it. It will never lead or steer you wrong. I am telling you. In the beginning, law enforcement was not able to find any witnesses to collaborate his story. So basically, of course, like anybody, I go missing, they're gonna definitely check to see if it was my husband. So law enforcement wanted to see if maybe Rob had something to do with it. As the story unfolded and as I read, I'm like, I do not believe this man had anything to do with the disappearance of Angela, because I felt he truly loved her. But he was cleared. He took a polygraph test. And then, you know, of course, the two witnesses did come and state that they did see this man in this green Ford pickup. And he had like a distinct decal on, I'm probably saying that wrong, y'all, but he had a distinct feature on the back of the window of that green Ford pickup. So after Angela disappeared, not even like 2 days later, her case was in connection to two other missing women. January 19th, 1991, a convenience store worker, 42-year-old Trudy Derby, she basically had reported to law enforcement that there was a weird man outside of the convenience store. And she also called her son. And this happened in Max Creek, Missouri, about 100 miles from where Angela disappeared. And 2 days later, Trudy's body was found in a riverbank and she was completely naked. It had been stated that she was raped and she was shot in the head. And this was about 10 miles from that convenience store. So then 70 miles from Max Creek, Missouri, in Nevada, Missouri, there was another convenience store worker who was locking up the place on February 27th, 1991. Year-old Cheryl Kinley was also abducted. And then like law enforcement was trying to pinpoint if maybe all three disappearances were linked. But Trudy's abductors and killers were apprehended. I could not get the word out, y'all, but they were apprehended. So they did find out who in fact killed Trudy. And it was half brothers who basically decided that they wanted to rob the store and also, you know, kidnap and brutally rape, you know, Darby. But Cheryl and Angela are still missing. There hasn't been any new information far as Cheryl's case. But then law enforcement says that they got new information regarding Angela's. So law enforcement of April of this year had received a letter that was kind of like a cut and paste. And they basically state that Angela was mixed up with another Angela, and this person is said to believe they were an informant. So law enforcement were thinking that this is a credible thing because they also got a phone call as well.
Police now have a new theory. The wrong Angela was abducted. Turns out there was an informant in another case who was being threatened.
It was a case of mistaken identity. Pretty incredible.
Did your Angela look like the other Angela?
There were striking similarities. Very much so.
Police have released this old nasty letter sent to the informant decades ago warning him, "People like you deserve what you get. We know where your foxy daughter is at. She will see us soon." That informant's family was in Clinton, Missouri.
And it was postmarked the exact date that our Angela was stolen. And that was hard to ignore.
You can't understand why they would take her.
Angela Hammond's mom has waited 30 years for answers. She lost her daughter and a grandchild.
No, it never gets easier. You just learn to live with it.
And a lot of the information pieced together. They're hoping that this individual does call back so that way they can, figure out what has happened to Angela, because she has been missing for over 30 years. Over 30 years, and there's not been any new information except for that new info to come out. This case is so sad, and this case did appear on Unsolved Mysteries. I don't think I ever seen it. Of course, it happened in 1991. I wasn't even one yet, so, and I don't think I really was watching it, at that time frame years later. But nonetheless, it's a sad story because I can't imagine being on the other line as a fiance and you just hear the screams of your loved one and there's nothing that you can physically do to help them. It's like a helpless type of feeling. So my prayers truly go out to Rob. I can't imagine what it has been like for the past 30 years for that. And her family, her mother, her father, whoever genuinely loved her, I cannot imagine wholeheartedly. But that is today's case, guys. As always, we got to keep getting these cases out because once they die down, you just truly never know. And who knows what type of spark or flame that could really get more information rolling in. I mean, look at it. April 2021. Angela went missing in 1991. 30 years later and new information has turned up. That's why I try to exercise. We will not give up. Justice or else. Justice or else. I got this shirt from Bold Flavor. You guys should go check it out. And that, that's why I created this brand. We meaning me, because I'm like the only one that does this, but not, my channel. I have created this brand because proper media attention is needed in order to bring these cases back into the light, in order to get them back on social media, get people talking about it. That's why I believe in that justice or else. We have to figure out what has happened to those who are missing, figure out who the murderers are for a lot of these young children and women and men. Justice or else, bottom line, period. So go cop this shirt, y'all. I had to support another Black-owned business. Y'all know I'm big on that. I'm big on just supporting anything, regardless. But as always, guys, I hope you join our family if you are new watching this video. And don't forget to check out all our other content. And I will see you in the next video, guys. As always, sending her family love and light, and to those who are truly missing their children because Mother's Day has, passed. So I'm sending you all love and light as well. So stay blessed, stay safe, and COVID's very real. So bye, guys.